way we're going to go.
All right, good afternoon, traders. Today's April 10th, 2025. My name is John Kerrigan. I am the lead instructor here at BYOB Trading right now. So let's take a look at some charts today. We had a 10-minute downtrend. Okay, gap down, 10-minute downtrend. Another bearish gap that didn't get filled. All
Hey,
right.
thanks, Joe, for the tip on BMY.
10-minute downtrend under VWAP.
I'm up 5.5%
right
here
into the 2025
nice.
low
Thank you.
anchored
Good
VWAP
start.
right there.
Good start to tomorrow.
And then actually in the uptrend line, so then we bounced off of that.
Hey,
and didn't
everyone,
quite make it
have
back
a wonderful
to
evening. I'm
the relief rally high.
I'm gonna lay
anchored
down here,
VWAP
get
up
some
there.
rest, maybe
So
get some
price
sleep.
action kind of caught in
we'll
the
see
middle. Looks
everybody
like it
tomorrow,
might
okay?
close.
You guys take care.
Over VWAP, kind of bullish.
Trade safe.
Not seeing
okay?
a whole lot of bullish.
You drive
interest.
safe.
Come in at the end of the day.
What else do you
We'll
do?
see
safe?
what happens. All right. So for
Trade
SPY
safe.
on the
That's
10-minute chart.
I was going to go down a direction. I was going to go down a direction that I shouldn't, and Sean did.
10-minute chart
We'll
for
see you
SPY.
guys
We're
later.
going to close the day with a 10-minute downtrend, possibly 10-minute downtrend going into the close. 2-hour chart. 2 hours got a 2-hour uptrend going into the close and above the uptrend line. On the daily chart, we have price action is inside day. All right, that is lower high, higher low, close. Is that right? Yeah. Closing under a bearish trap, under the falling 17 EMA, under the all-time high anchored VWAP. Does not look good for the bulls tomorrow. Possible capitulation. We'll see what happens. All right. So there's SPY on the daily chart. See if we can put the quad lines on there. Okay, so we are in the we're in the lower third here, so kind of still bearish, still in a downtrend. Let's take a look at QQQ. All right, QQQ is closing in the lower third, still in a downtrend. For price action, QQQ. Inside day as well, closing inside a bearish trap, under the falling 17, under the falling all-time high anchored VWAP, down here in the lower third, still bearish. FNGA, all right, still in inside day, closing under a bearish trap, under the falling 17, under the all-time high anchored VWAP. Down here, quadrant 1, that's still bearish. Let's take a look at Diamond Dow. Diamond Dow got inside day, closing inside the bearish trap, under the falling 17, under the all-time high anchored VWAP, under the uptrend line. Still, I'm going to give it to him. I'm going to call it neutral. All right, so neutral for Diamond Dow. 2 goals. Love it, Rod. Way to go. Nice work. All right, there's Diamond Dow. Let's take a look at IWM. IWM, inside day, quadrant 4. That's bearish. Closing under the bearish trap, under the 17, under the all-time high anchored VWAP. Bears still operating. Let's take a look at our technicals. T2122. All right, you can see we zipped up here to the buyer's chop zone, came back down to the sell zone, chumped around inside the seller's chop zone, challenged the midpoint, and ended the day inside the seller's chop zone. Well, it's a little bit better than sell zone or oversold zone. All right, so still some more consolidation. So I still see a lower high, but a higher low right here. So we'll see what happens tomorrow. T2123. Price action still bull flagging up here. Green from almost the beginning of the day to the end of the day. All right, looks like they gave up a couple martini lunch right there, and then 3 days they kind of they got pushed around by the bears some more. Still underneath the 200 SMA. Again, we're not making any higher highs yet, okay? That's a clue. Still caught underneath the falling 200 SMA. All right, not making any higher highs on T2123. All right, so it makes it difficult to get bullish, not getting any clues yet. All right, 3-bar chart, not getting any bullish clues. 3 more red candle bars underneath, falling 200 SMA underneath. 3 prior all-time highs up there. Okay, still not filling this bearish gap right here. Another gap right here, still not filling that. So T2123, still looking bearish with a bear flag down here at the end. Got a little mini bull flag inside the bear flag. So there's T2123. FNGA, what did we do here on FNGA? All right, so we gapped down. Bulls didn't fill that gap. Found some support on following 200 SMA right there, but we managed to get underneath it and climb back on top of it, and then just kind of hold right over the top. Holding over the top is kind of bullish right there. Again, still no higher. We have a higher high there, but now we've got lower highs and we got a higher low. All right, so we got a higher low. That's one good thing, all right, but we didn't make any higher highs today. That's not a good thing. And we left a bearish gap. Still underneath, above the falling 200 SMA, but still underneath the all-time high anchored VWAP. A lot of work still left to be done here on FNGA. Let's take a look at some sectors. First sector, let's take a look at, let's move this way up here. Move this up here, get it off the ground. Okay, XLE. All right, on XLE, inside day, closing quadrant 1, that's still bearish. Underneath downtrend line 1, downtrend line 2, underneath all-time high anchored VWAP, underneath midpoint, quadrant 1, still bearish for XLE. USO. All right, quadrant 1, still bearish. Inside day, closing under the trap, under the falling 17, under... this is a 3-year high anchored VWAP. That's a post-COVID high. All right, let's take a look at UNG. UNG got another inside day closing under the trap, under the 17, under the uptrend line, right here on the midpoint. That's just neutral, closing over that 12-month high anchored VWAP. Let's take a look at GLD. GLD did new all-time high today. All right, new all-time high for GLD. That's bullish. All right, let's take a look at SLV. SLV, higher low, higher high, closing inside a bearish trap under the falling 17. Under, this is a 6-month and a 12-year high anchored VWAP. Under that VWAP, still in the middle ground here. You can see not in quadrant 4, not in quadrant 1. Not in the lower third, not in the upper third. So just neutral still for SLV, actually in a downtrend, but on the bullish side of neutrality. So there's SLV. Let's take a look at SMH. SMH closing in the lower third. That's bearish. Closing underneath the bearish trap, underneath the 17, underneath the midpoint, underneath... all-time high anchored VWAP. All right, still bearish, still in a downtrend. SMH, XLK. Earnings coming out tomorrow, so we'll see what happens. Inside day, closing inside a bearish trap under the 17, under all-time high anchored VWAP, under the uptrend line. Down here in the lower third, that's still bearish. XLK. XLF. Inside day closing under a bearish trap, under the falling 17, under the all-time high anchored VWAP, still neutral, not in the lower third, not in the upper third. IYT. Inside day closing under bearish trap. It's not looking good for the bulls for tomorrow. Under the 17, under this all-time high anchored VWAP right there. Down here in quadrant 1, still bearish, still downtrend. All right, that's it for me for today. All right. I will see you guys all tomorrow. I had a pretty good day. Wound up finally getting my daily goal. All right. So finally I had to get 2,600. Let me see how much I had to get. I had to make 2,700. And at the end of the day, I managed to ink out my daily goal. Sitting on a big upside down position here. We'll see what happens, all right? I'm still following that bullish MMRP. We'll see if that gets some lift tomorrow. I'm not seeing it based on the sectors, but we'll see what happens. All right, John, what do I think of GEO right here? GEO. Daily chart. Over the midpoint here on this ride up. All right. Closing. Not quite in the upper third. Kind of just neutral right here. All right. Neutral till it gets up over that wick. Right up there. They were holding up there. They made a higher low. Right here. So now you got a trend. But you also have a new trend right there. All right. So this has to either break out of the top or break down out of the bottom. Thanks, Jim. Thank you so much. Hope you had a wonderful down 5 goals. We'll bounce back tomorrow. Yeah, we'll get them tomorrow, Jim. All right. What would I expect the market to do tomorrow? I'm not seeing much bullishness. All right. So even with the good CPI, I'm not seeing much bullishness. I mean, we came down today and kind of stayed down. So on GEO, it's got to break out of this wedge. You got a top downtrend line and an uptrend line. So break the wedge, you'll have a winner up here. All right, but right now it's just neutral, right in the middle of the wedge. All right, but PTJ. Yeah. Oh, Damon, we'll get him tomorrow. Yes. Yes. Thank you. Yep. Paul Tudor Jones. All right. So there's GEO, just neutral. All right. Till they break out of one of these two, preferably the top one. All right. Tomorrow, WK's asking me, what do I expect out of the market tomorrow? Let's take a look at our 15-minute chart. Okay. Well, we had a bearish gap that never got filled, and we never made any higher highs. But we did make a higher low. All right. And we're currently over prior consolidation. So that's bullish. Okay, so this is consolidation, and we spent the day up here. So that part's bullish. That red gap down never got filled. That's bearish. It's showing a little bit of weakness on the bulls part, unless they surprise us tomorrow. If you look at this on the 10-minute chart, I'm going to zoom in on the 10. Okay, lot of wicks. Lot of wicks. And even the dark pools didn't get anywhere. See that? They're just up here. So I don't know, maybe another challenge of this trend line, and maybe even going through. We'll see what happens. All right. Got to break out and create a higher high. Didn't quite get that done today. All right. If they start making a lower low tomorrow, well, good chance they're going to come visit this breakup candle low. If they get below this, then we're looking at coming down here for capitulation. All right. Yeah, it looks like the Trump 90-day delay, the hype is gone. I gotta say, CPI looked good. I don't. If the bulls want to push it up, they got a good reason to push it up. Not to mention the 90-day delay. All right. So the only thing that doesn't look good is POTUS is not interested in dealing or negotiating with China. And I think we get a lot of our products from China. So, again, you know, we need them to be truthful if we're going to negotiate with them. What's the sense of negotiating or having a conversation with a liar? You know what I'm saying? We find them to be very deceiving. So it makes it difficult. So, again, more uncertainty, and the market does not like uncertainty. So we could be underneath this pink line tomorrow. We'll see what happens. Oh, yeah. Oh, thanks, Stefan. Yeah. You and I think the same. Yeah, we need to do something. It's hard to deal with somebody that's not being entirely truthful. So it makes it difficult for us. That is the 2025 anchored VWAP low, and that is at 512.19. Okay, 512.19. I mean, on a regular day, we're a good ways away from that, Mel. I mean, we're up 10 points. On normal day, you consider that's great work, all right? But in the midst of $28 average days, it's nothing more than a couple hours, and we could knock that out. So, all right, traders, that's it for me for today, all right? Again, 10-minute downtrend under VWAP, and then a pullback to VWAP up here, all right? Those were the only trades. Pullback to VWAP and a 10-minute downtrend under VWAP right there. Thanks, Giotto. Thank you, everybody. Everybody have a beautiful evening. I will see you all tomorrow at 8 o'clock.